Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. You're here on the home of the Slightly Above Average Ship Review. Today I've got a not very impressive match in the American Tier IV Premium Cruiser, the Marblehead. We are on Trident in a domination match. We are top tier. Let's get right into the history of the Marblehead. Omaha class cruiser. Originally classified as a scout cruiser, it was launched or completed in 1922, launched in 1923. The version you see here in the game, I believe, is the 1941 version, which doesn't have very impressive AA. It ended up with 3 triple 40mm Bofors, and previewing the stat comparison, because the Marblehead has some of the worst AA at the tier, I would wager to you that this is the 1941 version. There aren't a lot of premium cruisers down at this level. The Marblehead is an HE spammer of the highest caliber. I will prove that to you using, as my longtime close personal friend Captain Queeg used to say, geometric logic. Speaking of HE, it is already in the air against the Congo. All right, while we're talking, the damage record of the Marblehead, just over 170,000, 935 by the King, 181204. The base XP record, 3913 by Wow. What a hole. I'm not even going to think about how he came up with that name. All right, we're shooting at the Kuma. As you can see here, my play style in these destroyers to avoid being embarrassed is to fire often and maneuver a lot in order to avoid incoming fire. Now, I am using Norman Scott, so I can't really tell who is aiming at me. Oh, well, maybe I can. I have the indicator, but you know what I'm saying. I am really more concerned about my own movement and shooting as much as I possibly can, as opposed to trying to dodge incoming fire. All right, speaking of fires, we already got a couple of fires set. Just keep an eye on that. I am going to stop paying attention to the game while we continue to shoot at the Congo and tell you about the Marblehead. All right, so the Marblehead, blah, blah, blah. It did some stuff in the interwar period, which didn't look very impressive. It participated in the Battle of Makassar Strait in 1942, joining the Royal Netherlands Navy. And where's that Navy here in the game? And the Royal Australian Navy. So they were probably drinking a lot of beer there. Anyway, the Marblehead was attacked a lot by fighter planes and bombers, so ended up 84 seriously injured, 15 dead or mortally wounded. Essentially, this ship just kept spinning in a circle to port, and her crew just kept firing as much as they could. And that is probably why it was refitted with better AA. Now, what really is the story is what happened after that. This ship, while damaged, it was steering with the engines because the rudder was messed up. It went to Indonesia. While it was docked in Indonesia, some of the crew got taken off. They were protected by a doctor who ended up receiving the Navy Cross for keeping the sailors from being captured, the injured sailors captured by the Japanese. The first leg of the voyage for the ship to get home was over 21,500 miles. Then it went to Ceylon. You know Ceylon today as Sri Lanka. Departed for South Africa, Durban, Port Elizabeth, Simonstown, Recife, Brazil, and finally New York City, where it underwent repairs at the Brooklyn Naval Yard. A journey of over 16,000 miles from where it was damaged in action to New York. All right, we got our first solo base cap here in the Marblehead. We have not stopped firing. Here is an Omaha, my sister ship or my mothership or whatever you want to call it, who decided to do this unusual tactic of not moving whatsoever and not shooting its guns. So when you have the opportunity to sit still and farm damage with a cruiser, my advice is to sit still and farm damage with a cruiser. You'll see my teammates, kill pinching bastards that they are, do their best here at the end to try kill pinch. Maybe? Yep. See, look, they're trying to kill pitch, but we got our first kill in the Marblehead. All right, I think we're done talking about the history. Anyway, it didn't do a lot, so to speak. The rest of the war, just naval bombardment. Did survive the war, scrapped in 1946, 2 battle stars. All right, going to our stat comparison of all of the cruisers, and they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 premium cruisers. The rest are tech tree cruisers at the tier. Hit points. Number 1 is the Hawkins Marblehead, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The main battery reload base value, Marblehead tied for the quickest reload with Omaha and Mermanx. No shock there, 7 seconds. HE DPM, folks. If I could just get the website to respond to my cursor input. It is top of the tier, 226, 286. So you get the quickest reload and the highest HE DPM. Rudder shift, close to the bottom at 5.7. Mermanx, sister ship, close enough anyway, 3.8 seconds. So that's interesting. AA DPS, 11. Only the Geneva is worse because it has no AA. That is your stat comparison here for the Marblehead. All right, getting back to the match. We have a 1-ship lead. We have a point lead of about 200 points. We've got a kill. We've got 11 fires and 60,000 damage. Hey, here's that Congo trying to run away. Oh, no, you don't, sir. We're going to use that HE DPM to its benefit. And folks, let me tell you, you have a fire setting challenge. Maybe even if you have a damage challenge, you got to get 100k damage in a cruiser. You know, I hate to say it, but it would be pretty hard to ignore the Marblehead. I just told you it's got the quickest reload. It's got the best HE DPM at the tier. You can avoid being dev struck by... I mean, the red team isn't really paying attention to me. I don't think I've been really attacked by anybody except for the carrier right now. You know, people have shot at me from time to time, but I've had pretty good luck in avoiding their salvos. Let's see if we can avoid some torpedoes here. You know, and I really would love to see the post-refit Marblehead. By the way, Arsonist Medal, kill number 2, burned down the Congo. Now we're shooting at Gangut. And I gotta tell you, man, this is an HE spammer. I don't love cruisers, but I'm never like, oh, I have to take out the Marblehead. I never feel like that. Of the premium cruisers at this tier, I think this is the most enjoyable one. And, you know, your opponents are going to love being HE spammed to death. So, definitely, if you haven't gotten the Marblehead, or any other ship like the Marblehead, like the Mermanx, you know, I wouldn't pay steel for the Mermanx. I'm just the kind of moron who does that kind of stuff. But Marblehead, yeah, if it's out there and you want it, go for it, man. You know, I really wish that they had more premium ships at low tiers and less premium ships at high tiers. That may sound counterintuitive, but maybe some of the people in this game would play better if they had more premiums to practice with at low tiers. Just something I thought about while I'm recording this, you know. What do I know? Anyway, we're taking fire from somebody way off in the distance. We are just going to studiously ignore, and really my only concern is dodging this torpedo, which I'm going to get just close enough to for it to miss me, and then we're going to ramp back up because I want to kill the carrier. Yes, we are turning hard a port. We're going to go behind this island. We're going to get this carrier. We're going to mess him up. My AA, by the way, 11, hasn't shot down a single airplane yet, and we've been under attack pretty steadily by the carrier for 2 or 3 sorties now in a row. Torpedo dropped from really far away. I mean, I get why he did that, but it just gives me lots of time to maneuver through it. So that was kind of a waste of time. Let's see if I can just get one airplane shot down with this really terrible AA. You know, it just would have been nice if they had given you a choice of hulls, maybe. Maybe you lose a little reload or something, but you gain AA DPM. Or you lose your fighter plane, but you gain AA DPM. Just something to think about. Fighter plane hasn't shot down anything either. All right, here's the comms of Mullets. We're in its secondary range. We are shooting HE. We're setting him on fire. I'm going to switch to armor piercing here just to see what it can do against an angled target, and the answer is not much. Maybe one more salvo, aiming up a little bit higher, trying to arc it in over the flight. Not the flight deck, but you know what I mean. The area where they keep the airplanes. That didn't really work. Back to HE. And we're going to continue to spam HE. Look at that. A Citadel up the behind of the comms of Mullets. That's got to feel great. Turrets rotating really quickly. More Citadels. High caliber metal is unlocked. And continuing to set fires when we are not citadeling the comms of Mullets through the bunghole. And yes, we are dominating. Our HE is powerful enough. We don't need armor piercing. That's the bottom line. HE pens at this angle. Insane. I am aiming up higher to get that. More Citadel hits, and we finish the game with the kill. Not a bad match for me and a cruiser, I'll just say that. Here we are on my favorite screen, the victory screen. High caliber metal, arsonist metal. 103,440 total damage. Is that 16 or 14 fires? Anyway, it's a lot of fires, solo base cap, and 3 kills for us in the Marblehead. We ended up with 284,000 plus silver and over 6,300 ship XP and commander XP in the victory. All right, let's go look at the team results. Maybe... All right, here we are, top of the board. 2 medal, 3 big kills. Looks like 2306 base XP, not shabby, but I mean, we were top tier. You know, looks like a couple of three or four seals on our team with the base badge, so we'll take it. It's a cruiser game. All right, here in the port, upgrades, just one, aiming systems mod 1. I wouldn't recommend any other mod. Here in the consumables, 2 charges of a short-range sonar, 3.7 kilometers for ships, and 3 charges of the catapult fighter, which didn't do anything for us in that match. Epic battle booster for main battery range, movement speed, and cooldown time. The Type 9 permanent camouflage, and the Abraham Lincoln flag. All right, moving on to the specs. 27,000 hit points. No torpedo damage reduction with our build. You've got 8 individual and 2 twin 152mm turrets, 16 kilometer firing range, 5.9 second reload, 18 second turn time. HE shells 2200 max damage with a 15% fire chance. AP shells 3100 max damage. Really only used for the AP in my opinion, broadside cruiser. Torpedoes, we didn't really use them. 2 triple tube launchers. I think we didn't use them. Reload every 38 seconds. Max damage, 6,233. They have an 8.2 kilometer range at 49 knots. The detectability looks like, with these aged eyes, 1,000 meters. Here's your AA defense. That does not match up with what I saw on the internet. So, who knows? But it is definitely not Beaufort's guns. Maneuverability, also a strong point, 35 knots, 600 meter turning circle, 5.7 second rudder shift time. Concealment, 10.6 on the surface, 6.7 from the air, 5.1 when firing in smoke. Taking a look at the stats, undefeated in AI. We have played 66 matches, and we have a 58% winning percentage in the Marblehead. Main battery actually 38%, not great because I'm shooting usually that at max range. Torpedo accuracy 8%, that is terrible. Kill death ratio of 0.9. I have a Kraken in this thing? I don't know when that happened. But the last game you saw was our best damage game in the Marblehead. So yeah, I mean I'm pretty happy with those stats for not being a cruiser player. All right, here's the armor viewer. Well, you have a large pardon me, slightly more heavily armored Citadel, which is of dubious value because of how big it is. Whoopie-doo, your turret armor. Yay. All right, here's the funniest thing. You got this 10 millimeter bow, but there's a heavier armored plate of 25 millimeters below there, and I have no idea why it would be that way. So somebody knows, I would love to hear about in the comments. Anyway, that is the utterly meaningless armor profile of the Marblehead. All right, here's our commander, fully maxed, Norman Scott. Base trait directed impact improves the shell grouping. We have Membeli for reload and Kuznetsov for main battery range. Your mileage may vary on those. Beyond range in row 1, Igniter in row 2, Armed and Ready in row 3, which is where I got the number of people aiming at me, Fixated, and Refill Station. That is how I run this commander, and so that's how I run them in the Marblehead. Anyway, folks, like, comment, subscribe below. Thanks so much for watching. This weekend I may have dueling videos, and whichever one does better, I will continue a playthrough. In theory. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.